Breaking tonight, what was supposed to be a glamorous royal comeback has suddenly turned into a political and public relations disaster shaking the entire Commonwealth. In an unexpected twist that insiders are calling a royal earthquake, Australia has reportedly drawn a hard line against the controversial visit planned by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. For weeks, the narrative surrounding the couple suggested a triumphant return. Luxury events were being planned. Elite guests were reportedly lining up for exclusive access. And the Sussex brand was preparing to present itself once again as a global powerhouse. But behind palace walls, something very different was unfolding. According to royal insiders, Prince William quietly launched what aides are now describing as a strategic steel strike. A move so precise and so calculated that within hours the entire foundation of the Sussex tour reportedly began to collapse. Government officials suddenly clarified the visit was strictly private. Public funding for security was off the table. And the official royal endorsement that once followed the couple everywhere disappeared. Now a disturbing question is spreading across both sides of the world. Was this simply a diplomatic misunderstanding, or did Prince William just expose a hidden plan that could change the future of the Sussex brand forever? Because if the leaks are true, this story is only just beginning. The tension surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did not appear overnight. In fact, insiders say the drama that is now exploding across headlines has been quietly building for years, layer by layer, decision by decision, until it finally reached a breaking point that even the palace could no longer ignore. To understand why Australia's sudden rejection has shaken the royal world, we have to go back to the moment everything changed. The moment when Harry and Meghan announced that they were stepping away from royal duties while still hoping to maintain the prestige, influence, and global platform that came with their titles. At the time, the move was presented as a bold new chapter, a modern royal couple carving their own path. Freedom from the rigid traditions of the crown. But critics inside royal circles immediately raised an uncomfortable question. Could someone truly walk away from royal responsibility while still benefiting from royal privilege? For a while, the answer seemed unclear. The couple relocated to California, signed major media deals, appeared in interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and high-profile events. Their supporters framed it as empowerment. Their critics framed it as something else entirely, an attempt to monetize royal identity without the burden of royal duty. And quietly observing all of this from across the Atlantic was Prince William. Those close to palace operations say the relationship between the two brothers had already been strained long before the headlines began describing it as a royal rift. Childhood bonds had slowly turned into adult disagreements. Differences in personality, responsibility, and vision for the monarchy began pulling them in opposite directions. One brother chose the traditional path of service. The other chose independence. For years the palace attempted to keep those tensions hidden behind carefully controlled public appearances, smiles during ceremonies, formal statements emphasizing unity, carefully worded press briefings suggesting that everything inside the House of Windsor remained calm and coordinated. But according to multiple insiders, that calm was more illusion than reality, because behind closed doors, frustrations were quietly intensifying. Each new interview, each public criticism of the royal institution, each commercial venture connected to the Sussex name, all of it, according to palace observers, added another layer of tension. And then came the announcement that sent shockwaves through royal circles. Harry and Meghan were planning a high-profile appearance in Australia, an event described by organizers as a luxury summit combining leadership talks, wellness discussions, and elite networking opportunities. On the surface, it looked like another international speaking engagement. But when early promotional materials began circulating among potential sponsors and VIP guests, something immediately caught attention. The marketing didn't focus on their projects. It focused on their titles. Meet the Duke and Duchess. Exclusive access to royal insight. Limited premium seating for an unforgettable royal experience. To critics, the message was unmistakable. This was not just another conference. This was a carefully packaged royal brand experience. Within days, whispers began circulating through diplomatic offices and government departments in Australia. Officials started asking uncomfortable questions about security arrangements, official recognition, and whether taxpayer resources would be expected to support the visit. And that's when things took a dramatic turn. Because according to a leaked internal briefing that reportedly circulated between senior advisors connected to King Charles III and Prince William's office, the future king had reached a firm conclusion. The monarchy could not allow royal titles to become marketing tools. Shortly after that briefing, an early morning strategy discussion allegedly took place inside Kensington Palace. Several aides were present. Phones were switched off. Notes were reportedly kept to a minimum. One palace staffer later described the mood as calm, but unmistakably serious. According to that account, Prince William listened as advisors outlined the situation developing in Australia. The ticketed events, the branding language, the possibility that government agencies might be pressured to treat the visit as semi-official. Then he delivered a response that insiders say changed everything. The monarchy, he reportedly said, is a public service, not a commercial logo. Those words would soon echo far beyond palace walls. Because within hours, diplomatic messages began moving quietly between London and Australian authorities. Clarifications were requested. Protocols were reviewed. Legal boundaries surrounding private visits versus official royal tours were suddenly placed under intense scrutiny. And as these conversations unfolded behind the scenes, something else was happening in public. Social media had discovered the event. Screenshots of ticket packages began circulating online. Users posted images showing VIP tiers priced in the thousands of dollars. One particularly controversial package promised attendees a chance to participate in an exclusive networking reception connected to Meghan's wellness initiatives. Within hours, the reaction exploded. Comments flooded in across platforms. Some users mocked the event as a royal influencer retreat. Others accused the couple of turning aristocratic titles into a luxury marketing strategy. One viral post summed up the growing outrage in just a few words: royal service or royal sales pitch. By the time the debate reached mainstream media commentators, the situation had already escalated into a full-blown public controversy. But the most dramatic twist had not yet arrived. Because while the public was arguing online, and organizers were preparing their event schedules, the decision quietly taking shape inside royal and government offices was about to transform what should have been a glamorous international appearance into something far more explosive. A moment that insiders now describe as the beginning of the steel strike. And just when the situation already looked explosive, a second twist hit the story like a thunderclap. Because late that evening, a document began circulating among journalists and political insiders in Canberra, an internal briefing that appeared to confirm what many critics had suspected all along. The visit planned by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle would not receive any form of official royal recognition. No ceremonial greeting. No diplomatic escort. And most importantly, no publicly funded security. Within minutes of the document leaking online, the reaction exploded across social media. A political reporter posted a screenshot of the briefing with the caption, "Breaking, Australian officials classify Sussex visit as strictly private commercial activity." The post immediately went viral. Thousands of users began reposting it, adding their own commentary. Some celebrated the decision as a long overdue boundary. Others accused the royal establishment of deliberately humiliating the couple. And right in the middle of the storm was the man many believed had triggered it all, Prince William. One trending hashtag read, #SteelStrike. Another quickly followed, #Royal Reality Check. Within hours, the internet had turned the entire drama into a digital battlefield. Supporters of Harry and Meghan argued that the couple was simply building independent careers after leaving royal life. They pointed to interviews, charity projects, and media work as proof that the Sussexes were creating a modern global brand. But critics were far less forgiving. One viral thread on X claimed that the Australian summit's pricing structure revealed the real strategy behind the trip. Screenshots showed premium packages costing thousands of dollars, promising attendees exclusive experiences connected to the Duchess brand. A user with over 2 million followers posted bluntly, "Imagine quitting your job, then selling VIP tickets based on the title from that job." The tweet gathered hundreds of thousands of likes within hours. Meanwhile, television panels and celebrity commentators began weighing in. A well-known Hollywood publicist reportedly told an entertainment podcast that the controversy had sent shockwaves through the industry. According to that insider, several potential sponsors connected to the event were suddenly reconsidering their involvement. They signed up for prestige, the source said. They didn't sign up for political warfare. The backlash didn't stop there. Even some public figures who had previously supported the Sussexes began expressing concern. A prominent British media personality posted, "This whole situation feels messy. Royal titles and commercial ventures were always going to collide eventually." Within hours, news outlets across the United Kingdom, Australia, and the United States began covering the developing drama. Headlines described it as a royal power struggle. Some framed it as a calculated move by Prince William to defend the monarchy's reputation. Others suggested it might backfire by turning Harry and Meghan into sympathetic outsiders fighting an ancient institution. But then another revelation appeared, one that pushed the controversy into even more dangerous territory. An anonymous organizer connected to the summit allegedly leaked a message from a private planning chat. According to that screenshot, several corporate partners had begun discussing whether the negative publicity could damage their brands. One message read simply, "Is this event becoming radioactive?" Another followed moments later, "We need to reconsider our position." Suddenly, the scandal was no longer just about royal politics. It was about money. And as that realization spread online, the debate became even more chaotic. Fans defended the couple fiercely. Critics accused them of exploiting their titles. Political commentators began questioning whether governments should ever support such visits again. But perhaps the most chilling reaction came from one royal analyst who appeared on a late-night broadcast. Looking directly into the camera, the commentator delivered a sentence that immediately went viral. "If the palace really wanted to stop the Sussex brand, this is exactly how they would do it." And if that statement is true, then the next development could change everything. Because behind the scenes, the financial consequences of this crisis were already beginning to surface. And just when observers believed the controversy had reached its peak, a final revelation surfaced that changed the entire story yet again. Because late the next morning, sources connected to corporate partners involved in the Australian event reportedly confirmed something no one expected. Sponsors were quietly backing away. Two companies that had previously shown interest in supporting the summit suddenly pulled out of negotiations, citing what insiders described as unpredictable reputational risk. The moment this information leaked to reporters, the narrative surrounding the entire visit shifted almost instantly. What was originally promoted as an exclusive international leadership gathering now looked dangerously close to a public relations disaster. And the reason was becoming painfully obvious. Without the official prestige of the British monarchy behind them, the global brand built around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle suddenly appeared far less powerful than many sponsors had originally assumed. For years, the couple's critics had argued that the real currency behind the Sussex brand wasn't Hollywood connections or media deals. It was the Royal Association itself. And now that connections seemed to be slipping away, inside royal circles, insiders suggested that this exact scenario had been anticipated by Prince William long before the controversy exploded. According to one palace observer, William's strategy was never about confrontation. It was about boundaries. Titles represent public service, the insider allegedly explained. They were never meant to become luxury marketing tools. If that principle truly guided the decisions unfolding behind the scenes, then the so-called steel strike may have been less dramatic than people imagined, and far more strategic. Because by redefining the Australian trip as a strictly private visit, the royal institution effectively removed the one element that had previously guaranteed global interest: official recognition. Without it, everything changed. Security costs reportedly surged into the millions, sponsors became nervous. Public debate intensified. And suddenly the glamorous comeback tour that had once promised influence and prestige looked more like a high-risk gamble. Meanwhile, commentators across the world began drawing a stark contrast between two very different royal paths. On one side stood King Charles III and the working members of the monarchy, continuing traditional public service roles tied to national institutions. On the other side stood Harry and Meghan, attempting to build a global lifestyle brand outside that system. For years, both sides managed to exist in an uneasy balance. But this controversy may have finally shattered that fragile arrangement. Because now governments, sponsors, and the public are all being forced to ask the same uncomfortable question. Can royal titles survive in the modern world if they are used as commercial brands? Or does the moment someone tries to monetize that prestige, the entire structure begin to collapse? Those questions are now echoing across the Commonwealth, from London to Sydney to Los Angeles. But the most intriguing part of this story is what insiders are whispering about next. Several royal analysts believe this Australian incident could trigger a much larger conversation inside palace walls about the future use of royal titles outside official duties. Others suggest new guidelines, or even legal clarifications, may soon appear to prevent similar controversies from happening again. And if those predictions prove correct, the drama surrounding the Sussex brand may only be entering its most unpredictable chapter. Because somewhere behind the scenes, decisions are still being made, conversations are still happening, and the next move from the palace, or from Harry and Meghan themselves, could completely change the direction of this story. So the real question is no longer whether the controversy is over. The real question is this: was Australia just the beginning of a much bigger royal showdown still waiting to unfold? And now the question shifts to you, because what we've just uncovered may be one of the most controversial chapters in modern royal history. A planned international appearance suddenly turns into a global scandal. Sponsors begin stepping back. Governments distance themselves. And behind the scenes, a quiet strategy allegedly connected to Prince William changes the entire direction of the story.
So what is really happening here?
Is this simply the natural consequence of leaving royal duties, or is it something far more calculated? For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have insisted they are building a new path, one that allows them to operate independently while still honoring their royal identity. But critics argue that the Australian controversy has exposed a deeper problem. Can a royal title truly remain meaningful if it becomes part of a global business strategy? Or has the line between service and celebrity finally reached a breaking point? Around the world, people are taking sides. Some believe Harry and Meghan are simply modernizing an outdated system and refusing to be controlled by tradition. Others believe the monarchy must protect its reputation at all costs, even if that means drawing a hard line that leaves former royals completely on their own. And if the rumors about new palace policies are true, the next chapter of this story could be even more dramatic than the one we just witnessed. Because this debate is no longer just about one trip or one event. It's about the future of the monarchy itself.
Now we want to hear from you.
Do you believe the strategy attributed to Prince William was necessary to protect the crown, or do you think the backlash against Harry and Meghan has gone too far? Share your thoughts in the comments below and tell us where you're watching from. And if you want more deep investigations, shocking royal revelations, and the stories that mainstream headlines won't fully explain, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next update. Because if the whispers coming out of palace circles are even half true, this royal drama is far from over.